What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about how much space you need for certain things on your homestead. So all these numbers I'm going to give you, take with a grain of salt because it's going to depend on what your county or your RM will allow as well. So this is kind of just like a base guideline of how much space you'll need. So guys, we'll start off by talking about orchards. So my recommendation is about 2 dwarf trees for every 2 people in your family. So I'll base it off a family of 4 and say you want apples, pears, peaches, and cherries. That's going to be 8 trees, 2 of each kind. So for dwarf trees, normally your spacing is between 8 to 10 feet. So we'll go with 10 for ease of math. So if you have 8 trees, if you do 2 rows, you're going to have 10 feet between your first 2 rows, and then you're going to have 40 feet, right? So it's 10 by 40, but then you're also going to want to have 10 feet on each side and on the 10 feet extra on the back and the front of your rows. So really, you're going to be about 30 by 60. So 30 times 60 gives you a total space of 1,800 square feet. And that's kind of a minimum, guys. That's minimum. So, but with 1,800 square feet, you could potentially have 8 fruit trees, which is enough for a family of 4, probably for the whole year. All right, for a garden, you're gonna want roughly 200 square feet of space per person. So a family of 4 would be 800 square feet, which is very similar to what we have here. So we have about 18 by 40, which is about 720 square feet. So this is the garden size you could feasibly have to feed 4 people for a year, depending on how efficient it is and what variety of plants you plant. So it's not too bad. All right, guys, now the big one, the chickens. How much space do you need for your chickens? So the bare minimum recommendation is 4 square feet of space in a coop per chicken and 8 square feet of space in a run. So say again, a family of 4, maybe they'll have 24 meat birds and 6 laying hens. So 30 birds total times your 4 square feet of space in the coop would give you 120 square feet. So say a 10 by 12 and a run size of 240 square feet. So in total, about 360 square feet of space for 30 birds, and that's a minimum again, guys. So especially when it comes to the animals, in my opinion, the more space they can have, the better, right? Just keeps things cleaner, keeps them happier, you know, it's just a better thing for the life of the animals. And just for reference, so this is a building that was on our property that I'm going to fix up and use for our coop. So this one is about 11 feet by 15 feet. So you take your width all the way across, closer to 11 and a half, but we'll just use 11 for ease of math. And then it was about 15 and a half feet this way, but we'll go 11 times 15 is 165 square feet. And we're planning on having 30 birds tops. So this is a good size space for that, guys. And then for our run, I mean, we're gonna try and let them free range as much as possible once we have a fence, but until then, we've got, so we'll call it 20 by 10, I believe this was, for the old chicken here. But let's double check. 20 by 10. So 200 square feet of run. Next we'll talk about firewood. As you can see, my land here, there's no shortage of that. This one's kind of difficult though, because it depends on how much you're planning on burning. If you're just using your wood stove and no electric, or if you're kind of doing a little bit of both, how big your house is, like there's a lot of different factors in this one. So I'm just gonna give a rough estimate of, if you want to have enough firewood for the whole year, sorry guys, it's a bit windy, then I would suggest 5 to 10 acres of forest. Alright, now for hunting. If you guys want to hunt on your land, again, all this is just my personal opinion, but I think you should have at least 10 acres. 10 acres plus, and the more the better, because the bigger your area, the more animals you might have on your land, for one. And then the less danger you'll have of, you know, just other people walking or driving around in your area, or other houses in the area. All right, so now if you guys want to do some beekeeping, if you want to just do it for yourself, one hive is more than enough for your family, from what I've researched anyway. So the nice thing about that is, really, for one hive, the recommendation is just to have about a 10-foot radius of space around the hive. And again, the more the better. You don't want people getting too close, getting stung, bothering them. But the bees will travel a large distance to get to the nectar and the flowers and whatever they need, right? So you don't really have to worry too much about what you have on your yard for flowers, as long as there's stuff in the area that they can feed on, and they will go find that on their own. So that's the nice thing about the bees. All right, now I'm going to group goats and pigs together. You just use the same calculation for both, really. So the minimum recommendation is 16 square feet, but again, that seems pretty small to me, guys, so we're gonna go to 20. Even that seems pretty small. But you know, just the bigger the space they have, the less extra feed you'll need to buy, right? Because goats will graze on the grass and the leaves and all kinds of the vegetation around your yard. So the bigger the space, the less extra feed you'll need to buy, and the happier they'll be. Now, goats are very good at escaping, so they like to keep busy. They like to have their space, right? So the more the better. And if you get to fit a playground in there for them, that's just a bonus. Keep them busy. So 2 goats would probably be enough for a family. It depends what you want to use them for, right? But 2 for, say, your goat's milk, your goat's soap, meat. Even if you want to eat goats, then 2 is probably enough for your family. So 20 times 20, that's just a space of 400 square feet. Now for a cow, if you guys want to do a cow, you'll probably only need 1 for a family of 4, or 2 if you want to do a meat one and a dairy one. So you're going to want about 1 acre per cow. And again, like always, the more the better. If you have more, you can block off each section, and then you can do rotational grazing. So you'll let them into the one section where they can graze on the grass while the other section grows, and then you can rotate them, right? It's better for the land. It's better for, you know, your food bill, your feed bill for the animals. Now, with these numbers that I gave you, you could probably have a pretty good hobby farm on, I mean, just under 5 acres, really. I mean, we have about 5 acres, and we're gonna do chickens, an orchard, a garden, bees, and then probably goats. So we're gonna do all that on about 5 acres, and like, it doesn't feel too cramped. But again, like, the more space, the better, especially if you want to do like the hunting or have the larger animals, right? But yeah, hopefully this guide helped you guys out, at least as like a baseline, and I'll see you guys next time.